Okay. Very hot in the UK tonight. Very exciting games in the Town Memorial. There was great coverage of the Town Memorial. And there was a fantastic game there today. Well, I don't know if it's actually should be called fantastic. Just surprising. But I had myself some personal club games last night. And I thought I was going to lose both. One of my sources of pride at the moment is my 30-minute rapid rating, which is it's ridiculously high, based on a low game sample, about 218. So I'm in the top 50 in the UK on rapid chess at the moment. But I had a very hard test yesterday evening at Barnet Chess Club. I was playing a Polish international master, Wansted's new board 1. I'm not going to get his name right, I'm pretty sure. Artur Sygulski. So there's a picture on him if you're following on Twitch on the right. So I played him 2 30-minute games. So it was a 4-board match. So I'm playing board 1 for Barnet against Wanstead. So let's have a look at the first game against Artur Sygulski. But before we do, just to introduce him, and I looked him up on chessgames.com, and he played in this tournament as an international master in Yermüller 1987. So just as a prelude to my 2 games with Artur, I think it's amazing that someone that once has played Tal, Mikhail Tal. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? That if you play someone and they played Tal, I should have asked him who's the most famous player you've ever played. I would have been really interested to know about Tal, how that was. So maybe next time I see him. But let's have a look at this game against Tal. So Tal playing white against Artur played the move e4, and Artur tried to play solidly e5. So we see after knight f3, knight c6, royal pairs, a6, bishop a4, knight f6. So far it looks really, really standard. White castled, Tal castled, bishop e7, rook e1, b5, bishop b3. Okay, so it still looks pretty standard. After castles here, now Tal played a4, so this is slightly varying from the usual stuff. Maybe avoiding like Marshall Gambit as well. I don't know if Tal didn't want to play against the Marshall Gambit here. But a4, because if you play c3, then you're inviting d5. So this is the dreaded Marshall Gambit, which maybe some of you watching the stream at the moment are aware of. So the theory goes deep in that. So anyway, a4 from Mikhail Tal, bishop b7, and now d3. So this, I know that this bishop, is looking forward to this diagonal, but with white's structure quite solid here against that bishop, it could be difficult for black. d6, and now this knight c3 accentuates the light square grip in the position here, and also of course b5, asking what to do about b5. But actually we get quite a dynamic idea now with knight a5, just wanting to double the pawns here and get rid of this potentially dangerous bishop, of course, on this diagonal. So does Tal really want to go for a pawn? No, he wants to keep dynamic play. He played bishop a2, and black still is interested in trying to blunt this bishop here. So he plays b4, and after knight e2, I think this was trendy for quite some time, this kind of pawn sacrifice in this position. Maybe it's still highly theoretical. b3, it's like a disruptive pawn sacrifice. So after c takes b3, c5. So it's double pawns and the bishop's blocked in. So what does Mikhail do here now? Now when we look at a lot of games, especially on YouTube, they're going to be dynamic in nature usually. The most exciting games are often dynamic in nature. And here, what do you think the dynamic move is for white to keep the position, lively, with some trouble for black. He's not going to just accept being a pawn down. So I hope you can guess that he actually just immediately returned the pawn with b4. Okay, some downsides to that. Well, maybe it's an advanced pawn when it takes. Okay, and black might be using the c file, and there still might be b3 on the cards. You would imagine, for example, maybe queen b6, b3. So what happened here? Well, this pawn, okay, it's got some strengths, hasn't it? It can maybe threaten b3, but it's also a bit of a target, maybe as well. If black ever plays d5 to try and secure it, then e5 is obviously going to be weaker in principle. But here, okay, Tal just plays knight g3 for the moment, so his Ein at f5 square. We see rook b8, as though maybe there's an interest in b3. But this is where I didn't really research the game, that much. So let's see why now. Mikhail Tal played bishop d2. I wonder if we can figure out why black, in this position, played a curious move, knight d7. Knight d7. Why did he do that? Why did he give up b4? It was taken here. So let's see. I mean, maybe it's not too terrible, or is it, just to play, for example, bishop a8. Does anyone see a flaw in protecting the b4 pawn with just bishop a8? I'm not sure I immediately saw an issue with this. Does anyone? If I give you 20 seconds, do you see a problem with this? Is there a problem for black? I'm not sure I can see one. If you do see an issue, maybe speak up. Okay, but okay, maybe black, I know he's trying to impress Mikhail Tal. Maybe he's freaked out by playing Mikhail Tal. It's 1987. So he plays knight d7. He's sacrificing a pawn. Okay, so what was the idea then? Okay, so bishop takes b4, knight c5. He wanted to play dynamically. So what does this actually do for black? Well, we see knight f5, knight c6 attacking the bishop, and Tal just drops the bishop back to c3 here, and it just really just looks, I don't know, like a pawn up for not much. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the dynamic play is. It looks as though white's also looking forward to a d4 pretty soon. This pawn's not a problem. So anyway, bishop c8. Now Tal takes on e7. Queen takes e7, and just this easy move d4 in the centre, which is a bit reminiscent of a game I saw today between Anna and Carlson, which we'll look at later. But just a pawn move in the centre is a prelude to a really, really good position. But he's already a pawn up. Okay, so e takes d4, knight takes d4, attacking the knight on c6. Bishop d7, protecting that, and now the knight reinstalls itself on f5, for its knight just departed. So attacking e7 and g7. So bishop takes f5, giving Tal a seemingly dangerous pawn. It's ready to roll with f6. This rook is attacking the queen. And the other question now is, could the queen have gone to g5? Sorry, Benko Gambit, does it all roll around the d4 square? I'm not sure, but why? If we look at this position, the opponent of Tal, Artur didn't play queen g5. I'm wondering if that is a lost position here. Maybe just rook e3 or queen d5 first looks pretty dangerous. Rook e3 you'd think might be quite dangerous. but you know the pawn's dropping. I don't know if Queen D5 here. So anyway, strangely, I don't know. Maybe okay, maybe it's not that brilliant. This position for Black. He played actually Knight E5, just walking into F4. Now we see Queen A7. Okay, so a little trap that if this is a take and we get this kind of discovered check and mating tactic. Oh, sorry, yes, rewind. Someone's just mentioned that this is a problem, Queen G5, because of, yes, thank you, Pat MC. Queen takes D6. Looks as though Queen takes D6 is oh, forking both knights. So that's not too hot. Okay. So yeah, that's nothing. Right. Okay. So we get this F4, which is just winning a piece. If Queen D7, sorry, F4. If Queen D7, no, we just take the knight. No, Queen A7. Sorry, if we take here, we've got just check, and this kind of mate, which I hope everyone's seen before. So we get this pattern mate against Tau, which would be nice, but Tau spots that, of course, and just plays Queen D4 here, which not only stops that tactic, but is also lining up on G7 now. So we've got the pin on G7 actually. So now it's all over and Black resigned. Okay, it wasn't. I mean, it looks as though Tau had an easy game there, but yeah. It's still, you know, an international master, and maybe he was a young international master at that time in, you know, 1987. I just happened to be playing him Barnett against Wanstead in this rapid last night. So let's have a look at my two rapid games against Artur. So in the game, first game, I was playing white. Actually, that's that game again. No, let's just load up the game. I was white. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll edit the game data. It's me against Artur, and I'll just put his name. Sygulski. Okay. Just quickly. So I played E4, and then he played D6. Okay. I played D4, classical like response. 2 pawns in the centre. Knight F6. I played Knight C3 with an idea that if he plays G6, maybe I can play this Austrian attack with F4 and try and simulate Nakamura again with that hack attack kind of stuff. Which we've seen recently on my channel. So, but actually he played C6, and okay, I wasn't really in the mood here to try and play, you know, like Bishop E2 or H3 or Bishop C4, or I just thought these moves are quite boring here. And actually, earlier that day, I know this is terrible, but earlier that day, unfortunately, I had been looking at some brilliant games. And in particular, I've been looking at Kasparov against Topalov, Kasparov's brilliancy game against Topalov. And so I thought I'll try and emulate Kasparov's opening setup. So I played F3. So the idea of this is just to play Bishop E3 without, you know, this nuisance like G4. Then like Queen D2 and maybe Castle Queenside. I thought this is quite a fun position, maybe, against this C6. So he plays E5, and I play Bishop E3, and now Queen C7. So he's not in a rush to Castle Kingside and give me an easy target. So his king is just not moving anywhere for a moment. I play Queen D2, and this might not be, by the way, the absolute precise move order. I didn't actually record with a score sheet of the games. These were 30-minute games. You didn't have to record the games, but it's just from memory how it reconstruction, and I hope it's quite accurate, reasonably enough, accurate enough. Bishop e7, now knight ge2, and now after b5, I didn't want my knight chased. I played a3. Make bishop e6, g4, and he kind of prevents this with h6. Knight g3. Sorry, one moment. Hello? Sorry, can I call you back? I'm in the middle of broadcast. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so knight g3. I thought I'd get into f5. And that looks as though, I don't know, maybe I'm being wildly optimistic here. Actually, I think it is wildly optimistic, this plan, because there's a significant problem positionally with this plan. First of all, his king hasn't really parked yet on g8, because this g file is just a dream here, I think, because he doesn't have to castle on the king side. And I think, he played with a5. And so, okay, does White really want to optimistically play knight f5? I think positionally, there's a big problem in White's position positionally if White does play knight f5. Do any of you have a clue in advance what that problem could be? If I want to use this G file, okay, probably it's hard to see at the moment. So we'll continue. Knight f5, and he did just take this off after G takes f5. Knight bd7, and I try rook g1, and after knight h5, well, he's threatening check, and this f4 square is a bit weak, and imagine if he could just exchange off these guys. The f4 square would be even weaker. But this is a bit of a simplification because the black king's still in the centre here. So anyway, against bishop h4, I do want to castle queenside, so I castle, and I'm not too concerned about this b4 here because I think I can just retreat, to b1. As long as I'm not getting mated on b2, so I thought this would be okay. So at this point in the game, let's take a poll. So without looking at the score sheet, you guys on Play Chess, make sure you've got the opening book. If I took a poll of this, if we give you 20 seconds, do you think who stands better, white or black? If I give you 20 seconds here to evaluate the position. So starting from now. Okay, black slightly better, you think? White's pieces seem a little offside. Black has more space. Possibly. Okay, possibly. Yeah. Alright, let's see. So he plays b4. Now, the one, okay, b4, knight b1. Okay, now he plays rook b8. So, okay, his king's in the centre and my king's here. I'm not using this g file, he might use this f4. Possibly at some point around here, it would have... Okay, it's interesting if black even considers bishop g5, actually, as a pawn sack. I played d takes e5. And he plays knight takes e5. Interestingly. And now things get really, really interesting. Remember, it's only a 30-minute game, though. So I'm threatened with knight takes f3, and this knight looks a bit offside. So I went for bishop e2, thinking my position can't be that bad. Can it? Can my position be that bad if I'm threatening f4 now? And he plays a radical move now. He plays g5. Wow. g5. So I take this, knight takes g6, f4, attacking the knight goes back, and now bishop f3. And I thought my position's improved here slightly. And, you know, this bishop now at least is in the game. Maybe there's e5 later and stuff like that, and his king's still in the center. He plays knight h4. I move the bishop right back to h1, and then he plays h5, securing g4, maybe, you know, for knight g4 to be annoying, or, you know, just attacking this bishop. And then, you know, maybe, you know, b2 could be a focal point. You could imagine some coordination on b2 coming up. So anyway, it's my move though. I play e5. He takes, I take. He plays knight g4. And my next move I play very, very quickly without calculating too much. I just play e6. And this is a bit of a strange point in the game, actually. So, okay. Why did I play e6? I thought I'm trying to open up lines against the king. And maybe this e4 square, you know, might be useful. But this knight is on g6 here. And actually, funny enough, he didn't take on e6, to my delight. He actually played knight takes e3. So things have really got quite exciting. What is going on here? I couldn't believe it. I took on f7. Okay, king f8. Queen takes e3. Okay, now he takes on a3. So he's got that line against b2. Fine. Knight takes a3. And I'm pretty sure, you know, his idea was to try and arrange an attack on b2. But his next move here was knight f5. And actually I stop altogether this bishop f6. So can you see what I played in this position if I give you 20 seconds starting from now? So white to play. I think I played a good move. I actually haven't engine checked this game at all. But I think it's a good move. It looks good. So what would you play here with white? Oh, by the way, hi Paul Morphy. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Okay. I try to be here every Tuesday. Kingscrusher Radio Show. So what would you play here with white if I give you 20 seconds starting from now? Sorry, I did start that off already. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Now, if rook g8, I'm not sure about rook g8 working, Jaresh, because I think king takes f7 might be sufficient. As I say, I haven't engine checked this. Queen b3 looks pretty dangerous. No, it doesn't. The rook's on it. The rook's on b3. No, I'm not sure. Okay, no. I played queen c3, so attacking that. He throws in a check. I play king b1. Now he plays queen h6, and it looks clear that he's really interested in bishop f6 now. My king's had it, hasn't it? If I don't do anything about bishop f6. Guess what I played here if I give you 20 seconds starting from now. So white to play in this position. What did I play in this position? White to play. Don't look at the score sheet on Play Chess. So what would you play here as white? Triple pawns would play queen takes h8. I don't think it does anything. Forcing moves? There's quite a few forcing moves though, isn't there? If I say forcing moves to you, there's quite a few, isn't there? But there's one that's really, really useful. Alright, if I throw the question back to triple pawns, how would you make queen takes h8 more effective? If that was the question for your proposal of queen takes h8, my question to you is, how do you make your move more effective? What could you do to make queen takes h8 more effective? Right, no, some of you got it. To make queen takes h8 more effective, I played rook g6. I thought, hold on a sec, I shouldn't have this position. This guy's an IM. I'm only a CM. This guy, but it's rapid chess. I thought, okay, it doesn't matter. It's only rapid chess, but it is rated rapid chess. So yeah, I want to keep my rapid rating up. So rook g6. I couldn't believe it. I thought, this is a brilliant position. Surely, what's going on? But it's not over just yet. He plays queen h7. So if he takes here, it'd be a disaster, wouldn't it? I just take here and take his rook over here, for example. So he plays queen h7, and now what does white play? I think I found another good move here. 20 seconds for you to find it, starting from now. What would you play? Come on. What would you play? I think I'm going to tell you, okay. I'm going to tell you, if there's no other suggestions, I'm going to say I played bishop e4, yeah, because I thought this is quite nice. This little diagonal here. He plays bishop b4. And my final move of the game, can you predict my final move of the game? White to play, leaving him in shed load of trouble all over the shop. So what do you play here to finish off? He was down like less than a minute on his clock now as well. Okay, I'll show you. Okay, queen e5. So I'm just attacking that rook now. Queen e5. And also, you know, if the knight moves, I've got rook g8 winning the queen. He resigned. He just gave up here. This is it. I beat the IM. I was really pleased because then, you know, maybe my rapid rating is not totally inflated. If I can beat the odd IM. In this tournament last year, I drew with an IM, but I lost the other game. So it's a 2-game match. So I have to wait now for the other 3 boards to finish. So I offered him a drink. We went to the bar at the club, and so we're waiting for the other 3 games to finish. And you know, he says Guinness. Okay, fine. And he just wanted half a Guinness. Okay. And they don't serve half Guinnesses for some reason. They only serve pints of Guinness. Okay, so okay, I thought, okay, I'll have half then. Okay, so the bar guy serves a pint of Guinness, and he won't even make it halves. I have to try and pour this pint into 2 halves. Okay, anyway, I managed not to spill most of it, but I end up, you know, with like 3/4 of the Guinness and 1/4 to the IM. I'm about to play him again. Anyway, Guinness has got iron in it, apparently, so it's not that bad, I think. So anyway, I have 3/4 of a pint of Guinness, and the others are finishing off. Okay, and we go and look at the others finishing off. So I've got him in round 2 again. So I'm black in round 2. I don't usually drink that much during 30-minute chess. I mean, it's no big deal. It's more of a fun version of chess, 30-minute chess. So, but anyway, I like my 30-minute rating. I don't want to lose it unnecessarily. Playing really badly. Okay, but anyway, so in round 2, so we swap colours, and I'll just load up the score sheet. The rest of my team, meanwhile, got obliterated, actually. So Alex managed to lose twice to some 2100, and Alex is higher than 2100. And their board 3 has got 2 IM norms from about 10 years ago, and he won his game. And our board 4, so I was the only one to win for Barnet, so it was 3-1 to them midway in this 30-minute match last night. It's the Baum Trophy event, North Circular League. Okay, so let's have a look at this second game anyway. So promote this variation, delete this variation. Okay, so he played d4, and I'll flip the board. If I can flip the board, I'm gonna have to mess up the whole thing if I flip the board. Okay, let's. Can I actually move it back there without messing up the whole board? Board, flip, right mouse click, flip. Nope. Okay. Does anyone know the control command for flipping the board here without me moving the thing? If I move that slightly, just move it back. Risk messing up the whole thing. Move it back. Have I messed up the whole screen? Hold on a sec. Is the screen okay on live stream, or do I move it to the left or right? How's the board? Is the board messed up? Board's totally okay. Okay. Because I looked at horror in one of my streams recently when... Okay. The board's okay. Let's carry on then. So I'm black. He plays d4. And I have serious doubts about playing the King's Indian Defence. I thought I shouldn't be playing the King's Indian Defence. This guy's got loads more experience, and the King's Indian Defence is kind of, in a way, strategic. It's not really that tactical as it's closed pawn structures. So for some reason, I thought, well, I'll surprise him a little bit. I'll play c5 here. So maybe I'm going to go into a check Benoni. Check Benoni, is that? Check Benoni. Anyway, so he's a Polish IM, so I'm playing check Benoni here, potentially. But he didn't play d5, he played knight f3. And this is a bit of a tricky one. Knight f3, not assuming too much territory in the centre. Okay. So I take on d4. I thought that's a reasonable decision. Knight takes d4. So what to do in this position? Okay, I have succeeded exchanging a flank pawn for his more central pawn. I challenge the knight, and he plays c4. e6. Now, I've abandoned the idea of fianchettoing this bishop. He plays knight c3. I thought, well, why don't I pin this knight? I remember vaguely some recent games of knight e5 being useful. And here, he played what I thought was kind of... Can we call this a contemptuous move? Knight c2, as though white's not bothered, not at all bothered, about the double pawns. Shouldn't he be bothered? Isn't pawn structure an issue here? Why can't I just double his pawns? Okay. Clearly, this is a double-edged procedure to double the pawns here. But I do it anyway. I double the pawns. Because I think immediately what I can do in this position is Queen A5 to try and cause some congestion. I think he played Queen D2. Again, this is a reconstructed game. I'm hoping this is mostly accurate. And he's looking forward to this D6 square clearly, and these dark squares in particular. And this knight's actually supporting Bishop A3. Funny enough, not that amusing if you're playing black here, but these double pawns, are they worth the dark square damage, self-inflicted damage. How would you assess this position? Would you say it's better for white or better for black? If I give you 20 seconds starting from now, who do you think's better here? Triple pawns likes black. Okay. But there's only double pawns. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Triple pawns likes black. He's clearly a man of structure, triple pawns. So anyone else? Okay. Alright, let's carry on then. So knight, I thought actually, why would I want to put my knight on f6? And he's going to play bishop a3. I play knight ge7, so at least I could be able to castle here without this bishop a3 stopping me castle off. The knight f6. I think he can just play bishop a3 or not. Hang on. Actually, knight e4 here is pretty good on c3. No, he'd have to do something about that. But anyway, okay. Anyway, I played knight e7. Maybe that's not the best, but anyway, that's what I played. Possibly he's got other alternatives. So bishop a3 and knight castle here. e3. And I try and be annoying now to his classical play. I don't know if it's classical actually. It's kind of dynamic, because he's accepted this rect pawn structure, but he's got the bishop pair, and my d6 really does look as though this could be a problem, this d file pressure and this b file pressure. So this pressure and this clamping down on dark squares could be really, really annoying, and I could make that even more annoying if I start playing a move like a6 just to wait in b6. But anyway, I try and be annoying myself. I play queen g5, stopping natural development of this bishop, eyeing that g2 pawn. And he kicks my queen. I move it to f6, and now he plays knight d4. And it occurred to me that this knight d4 is quite venomous, because surely, you know, he's got knight b5 and knight d6 on the cards, and if he reaches that position, then this bishop looks dead in the water, doesn't it? I mean, it looks pretty dead. It won't have its fianchetto square. He'll have b file pressure and d file pressure still, and the bishop's nicely reinforcing the knight on d6. So I guess there's a dreamy kind of positional bind for white to have here. Okay, so I thought I can't play a6 surely. If I play a6, then it causes other issues like this b6 square. You know, maybe we just rook b1. And he's got a lot of pressure, and maybe even, you know, maybe bishop d6, maybe even, and then c5, you know, like, so this plan in principle, and then this bishop's still pretty dead. So I play here d5. Okay. He plays bishop e2. And now maybe, you know, I should have played rook d8 here to try and keep the tension in the center, but actually I play d takes c4. Now knight takes c6, b takes, bishop takes c4, and this looks as though, well, you know, I can't move this knight clearly. If I unpin this knight with rook e8, then I'm looking forward to knight d5. Okay, but he plays queen d4 here, and that I don't want to help his pawn structure, do I? So I play e5, you know, liberating this bishop at least. This bishop's not totally dead. Queen d6. I'm still, you know, the problem here now psychologically. See, I'm playing this IM who's got much more experience, and the more I simplify the position into a sort of endgame with him having the two bishops, then surely his experience is going to come to bear as well as the positional pressure. But what else can I do apart from exchange queens here? So yeah, he's got this kind of simple position, which I'm pretty sure at this moment in the game, I didn't fancy my chances. I just had 3/4 of a Guinness just earlier, and the queens are coming off against a really experienced IM, and he's got the bishop pair. I didn't really fancy my chances here. I don't know about you guys. Do you think white is slightly better or clearly better? If you want to just shout out at any point. So move 17 is the question anyway. Move 17 here. This is move 17. Naughty bishop writes, if you play d5, you must be saying the double pawns are not weak enough. Okay, now that's actually a good question, right? Because the way I see double pawns, actually, well, there were two issues. Okay, if we just wait a second, move 17. When I played d5 at move 12, d5 is trying to sort out this bishop. So if he ever takes and gives you a nice take pawn, I've sorted out this bishop. But also sometimes by dissolving double pawns, you end up with other kinds of exploitable weaknesses. So I think that's something to bear in mind, not to be too dogmatic about leaving the opponent's double pawns, because you can often, like c4 might be weak later. If you get rid of white's bishop pair, then especially there might be weaknesses to pick up. There was this game in the most instructive games of chess by Chernev, which said, a Nimzovich game where Nimzovich dissolved his opponent's double pawns, but you ended up with mighty knights. And so that's one thing to look out for, that sometimes there's other weaknesses that transform from double pawns. So that's why I wasn't too afraid of undoubling the pawns, because it could accentuate other weaknesses which are more exploitable. But also this bishop is a key issue. So anyway, we'll move back to move 17. So here, this terrible decision to give my more experienced players simplified position. So I do take bishop takes, and now knight f5. Protecting the pawn and kicking the bishop only to c5. So he's looking forward to this b file, bishop e6, and he takes, rook takes e6, and now strangely I think white has a very powerful move in this position which he didn't play here. What would you play as white if you had this position? If I gave you 20 seconds starting from now, I think there's a very good move for white. Anyone? So what would you play as for white here? Actually, e4 looks quite good. Now, I think there's another move which is also looking quite tempting. I think e4 might suffer from the knight being able to go back, actually. And this other move addresses knight d6. Okay, just castling would address knight d6. And also the rook's like threatening here. I think this is better for white. So if the knight's deprived that, and the rook's coming to d7, I think that's pretty bad. But actually, he played f3, which I think is a little bit on the strange side. I don't want his bishop to harmonise with the pawn structure, with the pawns on light squares. So I want to keep this pawn on the same colour as that pawn, the bishop on the same colour as that pawn. So I play e4. He plays f4. And now, okay, knight d6, while I've got a chance. And he plays rook b1, and tactically I think, well, actually there's a tactical kind of operation here I can do to help the situation. I played knight b5 attacking c3. He attacks that. Now I don't want to play knight c3 unless there's a specific reason, which there is though. Knight c3, rook b3. Now knight a4, gaining a tempo, very important tempo, because I just want to get onto this d file ASAP. Okay, so he moves the bishop to a3, and I'm not sure this was the exact move order to get to this position. At some point, I think it was around about here, h5, king f2. Now rook d8 seems really, really tempting to come here. Rook e1. I throw in check, rook e2, rook d1. Sorry, this was a very difficult decision for me here. Sorry, if we go rewind here, when I played rook d2 check, a difficult decision here to make is should black consider playing c5 in this position? Would you consider playing the move c5 to rule out, say, rook b4s? If you had this position as black, what would be your plan? If I gave you 20 seconds here, what would you try and do with black in this position? c5 or rook d2 check? What would be your choice? Anyone? What would you play here? c5 or rook d2 check? Okay, I think both have got up and down sides probably. I went for rook d2 check anyway. Rook e2, rook d1. And the unfortunate thing, well, it occurred to me now that, maybe this knight is a tactical, vulnerability here. And actually he plays a move which positionally looks bad now for his bishop, but he's going to trap this knight, so he won't care. He's going to try and arrange to trap this knight. If he can play rook c2 and then to protect the pawn, then rook b4, this knight will be eliminated on a4. But I've got some moves in the meantime as well. I play rook e7, celebrating the fact the bishop's not pointing at e7. I can double my rooks in the meantime. Rook c2, rook ed7. But it's getting tricky. I'm not sure this is the exact position actually. No, it should be. Now he plays rook b4, so it's got really, really critical for this knight. Okay. So this knight is in grave danger now. So did I play this really controversial decision just earlier not to have played c5? Because this knight seems to be in big trouble. Well, black to play now, and I think I might have played a good move here by accident. If I give you 20 seconds starting from now, what would you play with black? So black to play. The two of you suggested rook d2. I'm not sure rook d2. I'm not sure rook d2 works actually. If rook d2, say anyone to d2, doesn't he got king e1? What would you do here in this position? a5. This rook takes a4. Aren't you just losing a piece? Okay, so let's go back. So what do you do here? You're playing an IM. Do you think your knight's trapped and you just resign, or what do you do here? Anyone? Okay, the couple of you on Play Chess, yeah. I played it, and this is based on a miscalculation, right? Initially, I was thinking I can't try and deflect this rook away from the second rank with knight takes c5 because of rook takes c5, something like this. And I thought rook g5 was winning, but actually this is losing for white. White gets mated. But that's not the problem with knight takes c5. The real problem with knight takes c5 as a kind of deflection is he just plays check, and the king moves, then he just takes that, and that's end of game. But actually I played something by accident better than that. So still with the idea you want to get this rook away from the second rank, so that's the clue. So how would you do that without knight takes c5 if I give you 20 seconds starting from now? Yeah, I played knight c3. Okay, so maybe Guinness isn't that bad after all in moderation during the game of 30-minute chess. So rook takes c3, check, and now rook g1. I still for a moment thought, hang on, am I just losing this because he builds an escape for his king if he takes this pawn? I thought, oh well, why did I do this? But actually, I noticed it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Rook takes e4. It's still perpetual. Check. It's still perpetual. The king is blocked by its own rook, and he offers a draw. It's perpetual. Perpetual time. So I triumphed over an IM in 2 30-minute games. Personal board score 1.5 out of 2. The rest of the team got slaughtered though. We did lose the match. So I enjoyed that last night in this summer 30-minute league. So my inflated 30-minute game remains in 30-minute rating remains intact at about 2-1-6, maybe going up by 1 point. I did have some other games where I did lose some points. They weren't losses, they were draws. But at that level, yeah, it's easy to lose points. But that was cool last night. I quite enjoyed those 2 games. So I hope you got something out of these 2 games. Yeah, so there's this summer league, so I might reflect some of what's going on in the summer 30-minute league. I think this 2-game concept, back to back, is very interesting as you get to play white and black against the same opponent, which is kind of fairer than if say you're playing black in a match. It's fairer, isn't it, to have white and black against an opponent in theory. But 30-minute chess is not taken too seriously at the moment. But I enjoyed it. Okay. I'll comment some questions on YouTube. I'll upload this probably to YouTube soon. So have a good week. See you next week. Thanks very much.